Ladies and gentlemen, by the power invested in me by the General Faculty's Council and as approved by the Mount Royal University Board of Governors, I present Mount Royal University's honorary degree recipient, Hunter White.
Thank you, Dr. Scheller. I must admit that climbing Mount Kilimanjaro created far less stress and anxiety than I have experienced over the past week in preparing my comments and thinking through what I might say to you today. But we're here. Thank you for that. And I just have a few words I'd like to share with you if I can. So thank you, Dr. Scheller, for the kind and generous introduction. Chairman Pinney, members of the board, President Doherty, members of the senior staff, deans, directors of the faculties, centers, and institutes, faculty members, members of the Legislative Assembly, graduands, family, and friends. Allow me to begin by congratulating the graduates, the graduands in this case, for attaining your degrees, diplomas, and certificates. You can be assured that you have worked much harder than I to earn them. I also commend your parents, family, friends, for the sacrifices undertaken in order to support you through your education. It's both a great privilege and humbling for me to receive this honorary degree from Mount Royal University, a school that has since 1910 contributed so significantly to all aspects of education in our province and beyond, and is rightly regarded as a leader in undergraduate education. In my first reaction when I was told I'd received the degree was simply that I didn't deserve it. I never graduated from university. I've never earned the right, as you have, to sit in this room and receive your degrees or your credentials. However, it was pointed out to me early in the process that many people who either dropped out of university or didn't attend at all have in fact received honorary degrees. I was told I was joining the ranks of people like Steve Jobs of Apple, Microsoft, Bill Gates, and a little digging on my part also showed that I was joining the ranks of Jay-Z and Kermit the Frog. And Kermit helped me feel a little less unworthy, to be honest with you. As Dr. Scheller said in her introduction, the MRU we see today does not resemble the MRC I joined 27 years ago. That was a great school. This is a better school. Changes occurred everywhere: buildings, faculties, programs, faculty and staff, administrators. The campus has tripled in size and become a university, added new degrees, diplomas, and certificates. And I was fortunate to play a small role in those changes. And I must say it's extremely gratifying for me to see all of you here today ready to put everything you've learned at this wonderful university into practice in your lives. I was fortunate too to work with an outstanding group of visionary, committed, uncompromising, and frequently demanding colleagues. Many of them are sitting behind me on the stage. They not only made my job possible, they made it enjoyable. And I really can't accept today's honor without acknowledging the role they played in transforming Mount Royal. I also have to give credit to the outstanding teams of writers, designers, communications strategists, marketers, fundraisers, admin support people, and planners who I had the privilege to lead over those years. I always believed in hiring people smarter than myself, agreeing with them on a path forward, getting out of the way and let them do their job. And it was on many occasions quite a spectacular ride. As one other person in the audience today I wish to recognize, without whose constant encouragement and support, not to mention a great deal of patience and more than occasional eye rolling, I wouldn't be standing on the stage, and that's my wife, Sandy Durant. I worked for 4 presidents during my time at Mount Royal, and everyone, on meeting Sandy, immediately realized and announced that they had hired the wrong member of the family. My accomplishments are as much hers as they are mine, and I thank her for that. Now, tradition has it at this particular point in my comments, I'm supposed to say something pithy. I'm supposed to say, give you my philosophy of life. But the journey I've taken is not the one you'll take. The world has changed and times are different. I'm a child of the 60s. My guiding philosophy was never do anything you wouldn't want to explain to the paramedics. It doesn't seem appropriate at this particular moment in the time. So what heartfelt advice can I actually give to you as you move forward? I mean, the future is yours. I could say you are the future, tomorrow's leaders, you know all of that. Why would you want to hear more cliches? So for a while I was in a bit of a messaging dilemma. I wasn't quite sure how I was going to, what I was going to leave with you today. But then actually fate intervened, and I knew how I wanted to proceed from this point. Last year, a dear friend of mine, Hal Wyatt, who was the chair emeritus of the Mount Royal University Foundation, he stood here where I'm standing and received his honorary degree. Now, Hal wasn't a young man, and a few weeks ago at age 94, he was taken ill. I wanted to visit Hal because I knew it might be the last time I'd have an opportunity to speak with him. But one thing led to another and got in the way, and before I could actually go to see Hal, unfortunately, he died. And that caused me to reflect on Hal's contribution to Mount Royal and his belief in the university's motto, Quam Bene Non Quantum, you'll see it on your degrees, how well, not how much, which is pretty well how Hal really lived his life. Hal's first job was in Eyebrow, Saskatchewan. His career took him up the banking ladder to become vice chair of the Royal Bank of Canada. Every step of the way, Hal looked for ways that he could make a difference in the world, and then he did. Where you're sitting today is part of Hal's legacy, for it was with his leadership that the Mount Royal College Foundation reached out to the community for financial support to build facilities like this triple gymnasium. So I thought the theme of my talk to you today might be really a case of coulda, woulda, shoulda, because that's what I missed. At the age of which most of you are graduating, you would probably agree with the Irish proverb, when God made time, he made a lot of it. When I was young, my parents used to often say to me that the older they got, the faster time went by. I always just assumed in my arrogance of youth that that was the ramblings of old people. But if you look up into the stands right now, there's a good chance that your parents or your grandparents are nodding at you. They all know too well that time does speed up as it goes along. You can prove it to yourself. Think about when you were in elementary school. The summers lasted forever. By the end of the summer, you were bored. This year, how fast did your summer go by? A blink, and I expect it was gone. So here's my message to you. The new currency for the 21st century is not the American dollar, it's not the Chinese yuan, it in fact isn't even the Bitcoin, it's time. Time is our most precious commodity, and yet it's the one which we were all too often willing to waste. If you live to be 85, you will have spent 1,020 months on the planet. That sounds like a lot until you realize that at 22, if you're now 22, 264 of those months are already behind you. You're more than a quarter of the way in. The good news is there's a lot more ahead. So what are you going to do with the next 756 months? Assuming that you get 6 hours sleep a night, there'll be 1/4 of your life in which you won't be able to do anything at all. And I say 6, I was going to say 8, but if you have children, 8 hours sleep a night is something you'll only get to read about. So what about the rest? What about the 63 summers to come? You want to make your dreams come true. That's why you came to Mount Royal in the first place. But time is a habit of slipping through our fingers, vanishing without a trace, and leaving little show for how we spend our days. The world we live in has a way of encouraging you to spend your time in ways that really have nothing to do with your plans, dreams, and being close to the ones you love and care for. We can spend a lot of time wondering whether our teeth are whiter than white. Should we go Android or iPhone? If our homes are in the right neighborhood and reflect our self-defined status or position. And let's not forget the occasional moments spent checking out what people are saying to us or not saying about us on Twitter and Facebook. You know, we used to say, when I was growing up, that at the end of one's life, few people would wish that they'd worked more. I think in your case, for your generation, that'll be updated to few people will wish they had tweeted or texted more. The one thing everyone in this room has in common is that we're all clocks gradually winding down. So how can you keep the preciousness of time on the top of your mind in a world that wants to convince you that you're going to be here and be young forever? Here's an idea. The next time you get paid, perhaps in some cases the first time you get paid, take $100 out of your bank account. Instead of using your credit card or your debit card to pay for your coffee or your lunch or small purchases, use your $100 and watch it turn into 90, then 50, then 20, and then nothing. And I think you'll then realize that your time is like your money. Ask yourself, how are you investing your time? And notice I said investing, not spending, quam bene non quantum. If there were more time to be had, what other things of real and lasting value will you have after your life's investment? Coulda, woulda, shoulda. One day when you realize that your time balance, as I do, is getting close to zero, those are the words that will stick in your memory like a song you can't get out of your head. You're here today because you've already invested your time wisely, and now it's time to up your game. You're walking into a world of challenge, excitement, opportunity, heartbreak, frustration, joy, you name it. And how you invest your time, how you make the most of your next 756 months will be your life's work. and the next step in the journey will begin today. Time is a non-renewable resource. I suggest you use it wisely. And always remember, as my fellow honorary degree recipient Kermit would say, always be yourself, never take yourself too seriously, and beware of advice from experts, pigs, and members of Parliament. Congratulations on your success. Thank you very much.